Let's find out what's in the feed. What's in the feed this week? Let's find out what's in the feed. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special edition of What's in the Feed. As promised, you may have seen on my Twitter last night that I was going to do an emergency episode. This episode has to do with a gentleman, Mark Davis, out of Florida's 16th Congressional District. He's a candidate for Congress. Now, I didn't know anything about this gentleman. I have a history of sticking up for those that support me. As you guys may know, and I won't dredge it up, but there was a similar situation that popped up with an individual named Bill Jubrand. Here's the problem. We have liberals that have bought into a narrative where they feel like they can call people racists, and they can throw out the word Nazi. And this is without any research, without any receipts. It's unforgivable to me. I find that the people that these accusations are thrown at are people that are absolutely the opposite. In this case, once again, Clerpatriot has been targeted by a troll. Now, what makes this more egregious than just your normal troll is that this individual is supposed to be representing himself as a candidate. I would think that there would have to be some sort of decorum, some sort of etiquette, some sort of manners when it comes to how he responds to light criticism. So let me start this off by playing the source video, and this is from Claire, and this is what's started it all, so that you guys can understand. What he has done is unacceptable. Now, just in the short time that he decided to attack Claire, I've had a couple of individuals reach out to me with some information about Mr. Davis, which would not put him in the greatest of light. Now, as I always do, I invited Mr. Davis on to show his receipts, because when you throw out an accusation of someone being a Nazi or one of the other unacceptable slurs that the left uses for anybody who has a conservative opinion. In the case of Claire, her speech is protected. Claire is not a harmful poster. If anything, most of the posts are in good taste and in good humor. And in this case, this individual running for the 16th Congressional District in Florida, Mark Davis, responded like a 14-year-old high schooler, and in a very untoward and unprofessional way, and it's unacceptable. I would like that most of us use our voice and reach out to the local government and the powers that be to expose this guy. Now, that's the nice part. Let's play the video.
Would you call in the bomb squad over a glitter bomb? You know, like a practical joke? Because Mark Davis for Congress just had an event like 2 hours ago where he got this package. He's like, just received this weird package from Marion, Indiana. No idea who sent it. Inside was a sealed white tube with the taped lid that simply said, open. So I tossed it in the trash can at the end of my driveway and called the cops. And he's warning his neighbors not to go digging in his garbage can. Does that seem like a mentally stable person? This is the same man that you've probably seen viral videos of going into Publix and screaming at people that voted for Donald Trump. The best part is he doxed his full address. How can anybody trust the judgment of a person to be in any leadership role when they can't even protect their own identity? And he literally showed proof. He called in the cops who are calling in the bomb squad. And the address for this package comes back as glitter bomb. He could have looked this up himself, and people like him talk so much crap about our law enforcement, but then the minute they get a little scared, they have to call them in to help. This is the same man that has been ranting on the internet about a Confederate flag that is on one of our highways in Florida, which is actually at a Confederate memorial, screaming, who owns that? Who's the owner of that? I'm going to show up and blah, blah, blah. You're so big and bad and tough. And you call in the bomb squad over a glitter bomb. And his warped followers are really feeding into this, saying that we are the problem. We are a terrorist organization. Dude, somebody sent you a glitter bomb. They didn't actually show up to your house. Maybe if you weren't posting horrendous things on the internet, people wouldn't want to send you a practical joke in the mail. He says, I don't want to hear another effing word about effing reflecting pool until Donald Trump is floating in it. I will give him one thing. He knows how to monetize off of a traumatic event because he's celebrating gaining about 1,000 followers an hour right now. Did you send yourself the glitter bomb? Anyways, let me know what you guys think.
Now, all due respect, Claire, this individual right now has little over 1,000 followers on X. He's got about 900 followers on Facebook, and he's got a little over 300 on Insta. So I would venture to say that he's probably being a little bit disingenuous about those numbers. It's not real. Let's start off by saying, given the facts on this individual, now Claire has already summed it up pretty well there as to the craziness of this guy. But I want you to see his response first before I give you the receipts, because anybody in Florida that has not been exposed to Mr. Davis for the actual crackpot that he is, and may even be convinced or misinformed about voting for this guy, just really has to know. And I'm taking it upon myself to expose this guy. If you think that Candace went hard on TPUSA and Erica Kirk, I'm going to make this guy my new obsession, okay? Because I do not like these people that use other people's platforms to boost themselves. Now, let's face the fact. Claire right now is very influential and has about 82,000 followers on just X. And she's prolific on all of the other platforms. So I've seen this before. These people who need a platform will troll and jump off of the success of someone else. And that's exactly what this is. He saw this video and he saw that, as usual, most of Claire's videos get a lot of traction. They get a lot of attention. She's really good at what she does. She's very informed. And before she drops any video, she has all of the facts and all of the ducks in the row. She rarely misses. As a matter of fact, I cannot think of a time where she has ever missed. And this goes to show the fortitude of this individual and the fact that he got so bothered and triggered by the post. So this is on the original post, which was a response to Claire, and then we'll get to what he actually posted on his page. He says, well, shut the fuck up, Nazi. So here we have it. His response to this, knowing how embarrassing it is to him that he's been exposed, is to immediately call an Asian mixed lady a Nazi. See, this is the level of research that these dumb fucks do. Mark your intelligence. You are a low IQ individual, as the president would say, because anybody who's looking at Claire could tell that's not just a good beach tan. Okay. And the reason that I am chiming in on this is that Claire happens to be one of my biggest supporters. I am not as big as some of the other platforms out there, and we all need help. But Claire was one of the earlier supporters and is frankly an inspiration to somebody like myself to be able to get to the point where she's at. And that's based upon her hard work. And that's based upon all of the content that she posts, which is always informative and informational. So the fact that the immediate response from these people, and we got this with other individuals that were attacking Claire and that were attacking me and that were attacking some of the other content providers, they don't even go and look on your feed. They don't see what you're about. They don't go and look at the history. They immediately assume that because you're conservative, that they can throw out whatever four-letter word is fancy for the week. You're a Nazi, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're an Islamophobe, whatever. You see, this creates a very tricky angle for them to attack someone like me. See, this is why I'm making myself the target in situations like this. It's because their brain fizzles and their head explodes when they try to put those accusations on somebody who's a person of color. We'll just use their terminology in this case, and I will call myself a POC, a person of color, since that's what's trendy with them. But this is how we saw what happened with the last guy that did this, Bill Jubrand. He fizzled out because there's no insult you can throw at anybody when it's not a white guy. And in this case, the irony of this particular individual calling somebody a Nazi is rich. This guy is the whitest human being on earth, and we'll look at some of his pictures because the jury is out on how long ago his profile picture was taken, because the Mark Davis for Congress profile picture don't look like no Mark Davis that you'll find if you do a Google image search. Anyway, so I bookmarked his unacceptable post on his page. And let's all remember, ladies and gentlemen, that this guy is running for Congress, okay? The left always blames us for what they do. Classic communist projection. And we all know this. I've said it many, many times in many, many other shows that the left are the world heavyweight champions of the spin. But this is what offends me so much. So Mark on his page, after I believe seeing all of the response to his original response to Claire's post was, I feel like maybe he thought it was an oh shit moment. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my chest out and I'm going to double down. This is from 5 hours ago on Mark Davis's his official X account. Can someone find this Nazi's personal address and send it to me, please? Thank you. This is a congressional candidate that is calling actively for the doxing of an American citizen. Claire doesn't work for an organization. Claire does not get paid by anyone on the right. Claire is an independent journalist who does this out of her house, out of the love and for the love of informing others. This should be seen as criminal. And I don't know what the laws are in Florida, but I would love for you guys to educate me after you see this and tell me that someone shouldn't be contacted about this. Because not only did he call for it once, but here we have it an hour later after not getting the response that he wanted to get. Because if you look at the comments on this call for doxing, you will see that it is not friendly to him. And this is his own platform. And once again, we're talking about a guy who's got 1,100 followers, okay? That doesn't seem to me to be very, to be enough to even get votes. But he called for it again. So an hour later, he posts this. And it says, does anyone have the Nazis addressed yet? So this is where we're at. I've had enough of this bullshit. This guy's a fake. So we'll start with what we know. Back in January, this asshole set up a website called Nazi.us and had it redirect to Homeland Security. Okay. He's that delusional that he would spend time, money, and effort in creating a website in opposition to Homeland Security and ICE. I guess that's what the case is. This is an individual who actively sells 8647 hats and called for his own arrest. He dared the authorities to arrest him. These kind of people are the weakest people. We saw this earlier with the 8647 thing. where now we've got a bunch of people that are daring to be held to account. Who knows what will happen? But therein lies two crimes right there. You're calling for the doxing of a citizen. You're selling 8647 hats. And this guy is a candidate who currently sits at a 4% chance on the betting sites. This is an individual who has only collected $29,000 in campaign funds. He's 4 points under his nearest competitor, who sits at 8% right now. Not only is this guy not in the double digits, he's not even half of what the next guy who isn't in the double digits is at. This is an individual who claims that he is a military vet. Now, I don't want to do the Candace thing, but I will tell you that there was an individual who served with Mr. Davis that wanted to share some information. And I'm going to hold that information until we have we give a fair enough time frame for Mr. Davis to respond. Now, I was going to do this emergency episode anyways because I want to make sure that this has been brought to light. It's unacceptable. This is who this guy is. But his platform is clearly anti-Trump, anti-administration, to the point of extremity. He thinks that we should have open borders and that he denies the crime increase, basically saying that the open borders did not cause a rise in crime, terror, and all the other things. So he's towing the party line. Now, he claims to be running as an independent. Clearly, he's not an independent. If independent means almost nearly socialist, because I think that's where a lot of these people are going. If he's running as an independent, that means that he doesn't have the support of the Democratic Party in Florida. And I didn't get clarification on that, so that's my observation. Someone else can let me know whether that's true, but he doesn't have enough support to be running under the Democratic apparatus. That probably shows why the fact that he has a lack of support. This individual does not have a big following, okay, online. He doesn't have a lot of campaign funds coming in, and so other than the title of Mark Davis for Congress, I can't take this guy seriously. He is registered, he is listed, and that's about it. He doesn't have a chance. And if this is his go at making a big splash, it doesn't seem to be working. And I know that, forgive me, Claire, that you didn't probably look heavily into what his following is, because I know that's not the kind of person you are. But even if you get a sprinkling of 5 or 6 people that are in support of Mr. Davis, I would be surprised if they're not just bots that are there to be contrary, because there's, in any case, when you get an account like, a large conservative account, you are basically sprinkled with anti-conservative bots that just respond automatically negatively to whatever it is that you post. So it's likely that there are a couple of those that have been installed for Mr. Davis. I couldn't tell you that because as far as engagement goes, it doesn't look like he gets much. He's also one of those universal health care people that actively has blamed Trump for the problems with the current system. Now, this is the most ironic shit to me out of most of the platform points that the Democrats have or that the left has, is that Trump is to blame for Obamacare. Let's remember, it's Obamacare. The Affordable Care Act is Obama's baby. So if there's anything wrong with the Affordable Care Act, it's the fact that it exists, that it doesn't work. And you're not going to blame Trump on that. You're not going to, repurpose the woes of the American people to believe that the reason that healthcare is the way that it is because it's Trump's fault. Now, the one thing that he can hang his hat on is that he's a military vet. He was in the Air Force from 2005 to 2012, I believe it is, the early 2000s. And as I said, there's an individual who served with him that has some stories that he would like to tell. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to vet this individual. I have done some cursory vetting of him, but you never know. Somebody could be trying to sneak in and be funny, and it could be a negative actor. I don't know. He seems legit to me, and we'll find out more about that later on. But he buys into all of those talking points that the left has about fascism and corruption and the whole pedophile thing with Trump, even though over and over and over and over with these fucking Epstein files, we know that he has been vindicated and he's been cleared of any wrongdoing. But because it's such a ugly slur, and this is what they love to do, they throw the worst accusation at you and they hope that it sticks, and then you're forevermore a Nazi or a pedophile protector or whatever. And it gets an eye-rolling response from somebody like me because it's just so disingenuous. I mean, it's more the Ferguson, Russia hoax stuff. And I don't think that he genuinely believes it. Maybe he does genuinely believe it. Let's listen to Claire's, video there. This is a guy who runs into, grocery stores and yells at American people. Is this someone that you want in a leadership role? Is this someone you want to vote for? The crazy Karen that runs into the store? Now, I didn't want to go here, but there are alleged rumors that this particular individual is into some, let's say, cuckoldage, maybe. He portrays himself as a family man, and all I know is the pictures, but there are rumors out there about him. And as maybe accurate, maybe alleged, might be just totally false. But the point is, you don't throw stones in a glass house. And it's the people that talk the loudest are the ones that are always hiding something. Is that true, my people? The people that talk the loudest, that scream the loudest, because this guy, what he is a chihuahua. He's a barking dog. To me, these are the worst kind of pussies on earth. And now here I go. I'm unleashed. Fuck it. So we're going uncensored from here. This guy pissed me off because he thinks he's a big dog or he thinks he's a tough guy. Now, I've got let me pull this up for you guys because I will show you the kind of pandering that he wants to do to convince people of the kind of person that he is. Let me share this screen for you guys, and I apologize, this was all on the fly. So we will show you this picture. Now, this is the real Mark Davis. Take a closer look at this Mark Davis. Look very hard at this Mark Davis. This Mark Davis is not the Mark Davis that you see in that profile pic. This guy is about as picture perfect liberal as you could get. But look who he's sitting with. He ran into Ryan Edwards, candidate for mayor in Tampa, calls him a great guy, and then you get a comment from supposedly somebody who's supposed to be his supporter, your one black friend. Well, we know for a fact that Mark Davis knows nothing about Ryan Edwards. And I am not here to talk about Ryan Edwards, but Ryan Edwards has less of a chance at becoming the mayor of Tampa than a dozen of eggs. He is not even on the charts. So the fact that this guy has to put himself in a picture to make himself look progressive in order to pander to, I would assume, the black community, it just shows you what kind of guy this is. It's really unacceptable to me that we have people like this that are running for office. It's a little disturbing to me, ladies and gentlemen, that we have all of these far, far, far left people that are winning and their primaries, and that we even have a sliver of the United States electorate that would fall for the whole socialism thing and everything that it represents, which is everything that is wrong or everything that could be wrong in politics. But this guy is soft, he's chubby, and his official picture clearly is either very, very old or it's photoshopped. To me, they don't even look like the same individuals. You could do a Google search, but he hasn't weathered well, I guess, if that's the fact. But I had to make sure to jump on here and tell you guys that I want you to stay tuned as to what his response is going to be. Mark, if you were as important as you thought you were, you would conduct yourself in a more ethical manner. You trying to dox and attack a simple creator who thought it was comical that you self-doxed yourself and got sent a glitter bomb, which is the most dangerous thing at a fifth grader's party. Mark, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed for your family. You should be ashamed for your kids. Because what if it was your daughter? She's somebody's daughter. She's not a Nazi. Okay? This is a person who supports people of color. How stupid do you have to be to not know who you're attacking? You're a dipshit. And I really wish you would come on the show and tell us your side of the story. But at this point, all I can say is, what do the kids say? You thought it was a flex, and it wasn't a really good flex. And you should be investigated for doxing a United States citizen. You should be investigated for your threats against the President of the United States. You probably should have been charged when you threatened the person in the store. But you strike me as a limp dick, wannabe tough guy who's overcompensating and has an anger issue against people that you disagree with. So that's all I'm going to say for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking it out. This one was a little bit measured, but if I get any heat back from Mark, it's gloves off, buddy.